So welcome everyone to Healthy for Life. This is week 10, and I am glad that you are all here with me today. I've been looking forward to this presentation all day. I don't want to get your hopes up, but I'm hoping that this one maybe won't take the whole hour this time. But today we're going to talk about active lifestyles and how to make it a way of life. Up to this point, we have talked more about how to set goals and start into it. But really what we're going to focus on with the activity today is more how do you incorporate it into your life so that it's something you don't have to set goals for in the long term. And I'd like you to, I put this picture on here on purpose because if you are an animal lover and you have the ability to have an animal in your life, especially a dog, they are one of the best ways to ensure that you stay active every day. And this is Cowboy, the backside of Cowboy, at least that's his tail. And that was my view for years and years while we had him, as he accompanied me on hiking and walking trips everywhere. It was one of his very most favorite things to do, is be outside. The other thing that I'd like to point out with this picture is that most of us live in Montana, and we have a beautiful state for recreating and lots of opportunities, especially in Helena. This picture is actually taken on the Ridge Trail in Helena. So if you haven't checked that out, you might want to do it. You don't have to do the whole thing. There's several ways to access it, but the views, as you can see, are amazing. And this one is looking south. If you turned around on the trail and looked north, then you would be able to see the city of Helena. So without further ado, I want to give you a chance to reflect on your last week. What is one positive thing that happened in the last week? And it can be as small or as big, whatever comes to mind. And of course, if you would like to share, I would love to hear about positive things that happened in your last week, even if they're small. I know some weeks are harder than other weeks, but if you can focus on the positive, remember, then that gives you the energy to deal with all the other stuff. Is there anything that you'd like to share? This is a picture from a couple of years ago. My son is being silly. Paid more attention to when I'm full. Yes, that is positive, isn't it? It helps you learn to be friends with yourself, with your body. Oh, you got brave, got on the scale and lost 5 pounds. Huzzah. Stopped eating later at night and no snacking. That's wonderful. I found a hiking buddy, and that will go a long ways. Yeah, hiking buddy is so wonderful. My daughter's last day of school was this week, and she went for the walk with me today. And she commented to me that it seemed like it went so quick because we were together and having conversation. So hiking or walking buddies, great way to encourage activity. I became more consistent with exercising and was rewarded with a downward trend, finally on the weight chart. Yay! Yay, that's great. I'm so glad to hear that. If you think of your positive thing later, please just pop it in there. I'll read it. I think it's great to hear and to congratulate each other on the great work that we're all doing. Had our grandson, and he just goes. I found out I can't run very well. He's 3 and goes. Best weekend ever. Yeah. Yep. Kids, like dogs, are a great way to keep you active as long as you let them do it. I started a hobby project refinishing furniture, and every time I wanted to stress eat, I went outside and sanded the furniture instead. Yes, great idea. Just distracting yourself. Love it. I bet it's going to turn out beautiful. All right, so we started with the reflection already. Another question that I want you to ask yourself, since we did problem solving last week, is, was there a problem that you tackled last week? Did you try using those 4 steps? Plan ahead, ask for what you want, those 4 steps that we reviewed last time. Did you use those, any one or all 4, when you tackled the problems? Maybe have a little reflection on that, especially if that was a big step for you to tackle a problem, or there's an ongoing problem or barrier or challenge that you're dealing with. Maybe reflect on that a little bit. What worked, what didn't work, how you might be able to change it. If there's planning ahead you need to do for this week coming up. And if you've taken your weight, make sure to chart that right now. I like to build in the time right during the presentation for you to be able to do that. So you're here, so you may as well write it down, make a note. And while you finish that up, if you're not already, I'm going to launch into what today's topic is. So what is an active lifestyle? An active lifestyle is a way of life where physical activity is built in. For weight loss and maintenance, deliberate physical activity most days is a must. And I'm not telling you anything that you don't know. I would venture to say that most of you, if I had asked what an active lifestyle is, you would have said some variation of that. For some of us, an active lifestyle is easier to start building or to build upon what you already have than others. But in any case, focus on what you like to do first. And we talked about this way back in week 3 when we talked about physical activity and setting that goal the first time. So think about what you like to do. At that presentation, you probably wrote down, oh, these are things that I like to do. These are things that'll fit my life. Now that we're 10 weeks along in our journey, you probably have a better idea of what you like to do. So think about the things as we've gone through this that you've enjoyed. If you've had a good experience walking with a friend, hiking buddy, you've been swimming, you've been bicycling, whatever it is that works the best for you for physical activity. Some of you are doing gardening because that's achievable for you at this point in your life, and it allows you to get up and be moving around, and that's okay too. I really feel like that's important to know, is it can be any kind of body movement, anything that gets you up and makes you active. So not sitting here watching a webinar, right? It's getting up and gardening. Maybe you love to garden. Maybe you love to ride bikes. Maybe you love to swim. Maybe you love to walk your dog. Those are, the things to focus on first, for sure. Once you've got that down and that gets you moving, you start to think about variety and intensity in order to get in better shape. So changing up what you do every now and then, even if maybe it's something that is not your most favorite thing to do, if you do it every now and then it will help you be stronger and be better able to do the things that you are able to do. And then the intensity is a great way to start to get in a little bit better shape if that's what you're looking for. So some of you may have heard of HIIT training or interval training. You can do a lower intensity version of that. And the way I like to describe it, to give you an idea of what I'm talking about, is say that you walk, because that's pretty common for people that I work with. They like to go for a walk every day, but they're thinking, I'm not seeing a ton of results, but I'm not sure how to take that next step. So as you're walking, maybe consider going up hills instead of walking flat. If you normally walk flat, maybe go to a place where there's some hills, because the hills are a built-in way to increase the intensity and then decrease the intensity, as long as your joints are okay with that. The other way that you can increase the intensity is you can take short little sections of your walk and you can walk faster. Some of you might be able to run. All of those kinds of things are a great way to increase that intensity. So you don't do it for the whole time. Within interval training or HIIT training, what you're doing is, like, if you're walking down the road, you look up ahead, you see a sign, you say, okay, I'm going to run to that sign, or I'm going to walk as fast as I can to that sign. I'm going to use my arms so that my heart rate goes up. And then when you get to the sign, then you stop, you walk normally. You let your heart rate come down a little bit, and then you do it again. Okay, I'm going to walk to that tree, and then you go really fast and you get your heart rate up. Once you get to the tree, then you settle it back down again. So that's just a good, I think, accessible example for what I mean by that. I don't mean you have to go do sports conditioning class, ride a bike up a mountain, anything like that. That can be adjusted. Interval book training can be adjusted as well. And it's a great way to add intensity to a workout without dialing up your intensity for the whole workout. And also remember the 3 legs of the stool. So a lot of the time we focus on the cardiovascular, especially with walking. I mean, it's so accessible, so easy, but you may be at a point where you want to think about, how do I incorporate a little bit of strength? How do I incorporate a little bit of flexibility? So the strength, to go back to my walking example, if you have a path you normally walk on, you want to add some strength training into your workout because you only have that, 30 minutes during the day. Maybe as you're walking along, maybe there's a bench or something like that where you can stop and do a few push-ups, however many is appropriate for you. And then you walk a little more, and then you'll stop at another appropriate place and do a few push-ups or squats or lifts up onto your toes, or turn around and put your arms behind you and do some tricep work for the back of your arms. All of that works with your body. It doesn't require any equipment. Core exercise is a great thing to do, is just to hover, where you get down on the floor and your elbows are underneath you and your feet or your knees are down, and then you lower your hips enough that you feel your abs engage. And that is a great no impact way to work your core. That can be done a lot of different places, and it doesn't require any equipment. Of course, if you have equipment, if you have access to a gym, then you can incorporate the strength training there. There's great circuit trainings with the at gyms with the machines that sometimes are a little bit more self-explanatory. You can ask. A lot of times gyms will have a personal trainer who can come and show you how to use the equipment and set up a routine for you if you're not sure where to start. There's also online things. And then flexibility, of course, in this day and age, I think a lot of us think yoga when we think about flexibility. Yoga is actually a great way to incorporate both strength and flexibility in an environment where the teacher, the instructor, will help you out. And I don't remember if I talked about yoga with Adrienne last time, but I did. She's got a ton of free videos on her YouTube channel. So that's a great place to start, but you don't have to do yoga. If yoga is not your thing for flexibility, then maybe you just pick a time during the day and you sit and you do some simple stretches. Especially hamstrings, your shoulders and your neck, stretching out those places where we have a tendency to be tight. Try to think balance in every day, balancing your sitting with your moving. So every time I do this presentation, I always like to say, right now, listening to me talk, you very well might be sitting, but take a second right now and stand up, right? Stand up, stretch your arms up. I know, hi, I'm doing it too. Stretch your arms back, opening through your chest. Maybe roll your shoulders. Maybe lace your fingers and press away, open between your shoulders like so. Maybe a little stretch for your legs, a little stretch forward, leaning into it with your toe forward. Any of that kind of stuff works. And people can't see you on this webinar. So anytime you feel the need to stand up, to walk around, even if you wanted to call into the Zoom webinar and take a walk while we're doing it, it's a great way to multitask. So I always say, standing desk at work. Yes, yes. PBS has a show called Classical Stretch that's really great for flexibility, and it's available on a DVD. Yes, great. That's a great example. The YMCA walking path in Helena has different exercise spots all along it. Yep. And that's a great way to do what I was just talking about. And then It felt good, did it, Shelley? That's good. I'm glad. So if you've increased your activity during the program, that says during this week, but if you've increased your activity during this program, which I sincerely hope you have, congratulations. You have decreased your chance of chronic diseases such as diabetes. You've increased beta cell function. You've increased your HDL cholesterol, which is the quote unquote good cholesterol. Exercise does all of those things. And then one more thing with the active lifestyle, in my position as the wellness program manager, I do a lot of things, but one of them is the challenges. And the Stay Active Challenge is just getting started right now. Registration is open for that. So the Stay Active Challenge is an 8-week physical activity challenge where you track your exercise or your steps. You can sync a Fitbit or, if you have that sort of thing with the website, and it will automatically track in there. You can do it as a team of 1. You can do it as a team of up to 10. If you'd like to invite other people to participate with you that are on the state plan. The Stay Active Challenge is just kind of a fun thing. I do recipes that I'll send out each week. So if that's something that you'd like to join, I would absolutely love it if we could do a Healthy for Life Stay Active team. I can't be the captain of the team as much as I would like to, because I'm already captaining the team for my division at the Healthcare and Benefits division. But if one of you would like to be the captain of the team, just give me a call, send me an email if you need help setting that up. Otherwise, just set it up, and then you can invite whoever would like to join the team. So if you'd like to join the team, or if you'd like to captain, send me an email and I will get you all set up that. I'm a captain of my office. You're already there, Jennifer. Yes, good job. Okay, I'm also going to put in the link so you can find more information about the Stay Active Challenge. Oh, why is that? Oops. benefits.gov/Stay Active Challenge. Okay, so that's the link for it. If you're interested in that, it's a great way to get and stay a little more active. There's prizes that you can win. So I encourage you to do that. All right, so problem solving, we're going to go back to that for a little bit, and we're going to focus on the activity part of the problem solving. If you remember the preparatory set that we talked about last time, think in your head, write it down. What is it that you want to do and why? What is it that you want to do activity-wise? If there was anything that you could think of activity-wise that you would like to add in, do a preparatory set for that. So write down what your goal is, set that goal, and then visualize what that's going to look like. What time during the day would you do whatever it is that you want to do? How would it feel while you were doing it? What would you notice or see outside or inside, wherever you're at? Is there someone you could do it with, or a pet? You can borrow your neighbor's pet. Sometimes people really don't mind if you want to borrow their pet and give them a little exercise. And that's a good companion. So do a preparatory set with activity, just like we talked about. If this is something you want to focus on right now, doing a preparatory set can really help you to find opportunities for that. If you have children, again, children are great, but they can also be a barrier to getting the activity that you want to get. And so ways to get around that barrier might include getting a babysitter or a family member to watch them, or even better, including the children in the activity. There's one gal that I'm doing health coaching with right now where her children's school actually did a physical activity challenge similar to the Stay Active Challenge. And the person that I was working with promised her children that she would go walking with them. And she said it was a really effective way to increase her walking during the day. So incorporating the children into the activity, even if it's not quite as active as maybe you would like to be is a great way to get around that as well. If you have access to a gym, a lot of times they'll have childcare at the gym. Hot or cold weather can be a barrier. So think about that challenge as you are doing your preparatory set. I always say that it's not that the weather is bad, it's that you're not wearing the appropriate clothing. So if it's winter time, there is great resources, or what's the word I'm looking for? There's tools you can use in order to make being active accessible during the winter months. We talked about yak tracks last time. That's a great thing to put on your feet if it's slippery outside. Of course, there's, balaclavas and scarves to cover up your face. There's hoods, hooded jackets, windbreakers, rain jackets, rain boots, comfortable walking shoes, all of those kinds of things can really make a difference. And if you can be active every day in a crazy weather place like Montana. On the other end of that spectrum, it can be really hot. I see a note in there. My coworker, who is originally from Georgia, and I went for a walk meeting last week in the 97-degree heat index. She thought it was great, and I thought I was going to literally melt. Yeah, she was probably like, oh geez, 97 here is nothing compared to 97 in Georgia with the humidity. Yep, I've heard that a lot too. And plus, it's kind of tough for our bodies to keep up with it, where 2 weeks ago it was 26 degrees and then 2 weeks later it's 97, right? Our body's not quite used to it being that warm yet, because your body does acclimate to the temperature as well. You might have noticed that throughout the year. So as far as hot weather goes, some tools you can use are, I don't know if you've ever seen like those cool gel packs. They're like small things that you can put around your neck as you're walking. That can help keep you a little more cool. I used to run on a certain day of the week all the time, like religiously. So during the summer, I would actually make use of the sprinklers that were going in people's yards as I was getting up, going up the trail. And I would actually get my head wet, because when it's 97 degrees outside, you can get your head wet and it'll be dry again 10 minutes later, but it really does help bring your core body temperature down. Of course, drinking lots of water in either case is really important before, during, and after exercise. And if you're exercising for prolonged periods, doing some sort of electrolyte replacement is not a bad thing. There's resources out there where you don't have to take in a bunch of calories in order to replace the electrolytes as well. So you can investigate those if you want to, or just dilute it. Just because the Gatorade comes that way in the bottle doesn't mean you can't mix it with water. I will commonly do that when I go for bike rides, because straight Gatorade is too heavy for my stomach in the middle of a bike ride. But if I mix about half and half in my water bottle with Gatorade and water, then it's about the right, and it doesn't overload my calories, but it gives my body what it needs to keep going. And that's, again, really the only time to use those kinds of like Gatorade electrolyte replacements is when you're sweating a lot and you're doing it for more than an hour. Otherwise, just your usual diet typically will work pretty well to keep you hydrated. Time is probably the biggest barrier that I hear from people as far as activity goes. I don't have time to do it. Make an appointment with yourself each day you want to be active. I actually have it on my calendar to be active. I mean, part of that is because I'm teaching a class, so I have to be there. I don't have a choice. I highly recommend it. It makes you very consistent with your activity. But if teaching the class isn't on your agenda, then just make that appointment so that nobody's going to schedule over it. You have the time built into your calendar. It's going to pop up and remind you, go and do this thing. It should become a predictable part of your day. It should become a part of your day that you look forward to, and that there's no mental dialogue about, am I going to do this today? Am I not going to do it today? It really is something that you need to commit to. You need to put yourself on the list when it comes to activity. And remember, it doesn't have to be an hour. It doesn't have to be a half an hour. I mean, heck, you can do 5-minute breaks throughout the day, and during the day, maybe you would accumulate, a half an hour to an hour worth. It all counts. It's all cumulative. It is all beneficial. So don't feel like if you only have a few minutes to do it, that it's not worthwhile. If I don't get up at 5:15 a.m. to exercise, my husband is so very supportive and he pushes me out of bed. Is he being supportive, or does he just want to stretch out for a while? Well, that's good, because again, that's your support structure. And when they are supportive, it can be really beneficial. I'm actually working on our presentation for next week, which I'm really excited about. You're going to have guest speakers next week. And they are a great example of a support structure for each other. It's a husband and wife duo. And I think you're really going to love hearing from them. But that support structure can and is really helpful. All right, so just a little time here focusing on the walking component of this. And I know walking isn't necessarily something that's accessible for everyone. So if you're someone that uses a wheelchair or other mobility aids, then please adjust this to fit the kind of activity that works for you. But walking for a lot of people is something that is accessible. You don't have to go to a gym. You don't necessarily need any special equipment in order to do it. It's easy for most people. It's free. You can do it anytime. It works. It makes your body happier. It lets everything else process more smoothly in your body. Our bodies are designed to move. They're not designed to be still. The Walk with Ease program, if you're not familiar with the Walk with Ease program, it's provided by the Montana Department of Public Health, and they've been providing it for state plan members for quite a few years. There is the version, and they're starting a version every month, a new program series. It's a 6-week series program. They're starting a new one at this time right now, every month, and it's all online. It's not anything that requires a team or anything like that. It's all online. It's self-paced, and you can find more information at the link that I've included on the slide there, or you can email me and I'll put you in contact with the lady to get enrolled. So Walk with Ease is really designed for those who have chronic conditions or who are just starting with activity, not very active right now. And for the people that are in that situation that have tried the Walk with Ease program, the reviews are just glowing. It's really, really, really helpful for people. Walking pays. According to the American Heart Association, physically active people save $500 a year at least in healthcare costs. And I've put the link for that there. So if you want to review that, you absolutely can. There's a comment that says there's a good DVD series called Walk Away the Pounds and You Can Walk in Place, and it's fun to do. Yeah, you don't even have to go outside like on a bad day, or if you only have a few minutes, or if you're in your office. Yeah, I like that. Walk away the pounds. You can walk in place and it's fun to do. I have had vestibular issues, and I used to do that when I didn't feel comfortable walking forward. I would actually just march in place in my office. And that was a great way to get up, get my blood moving, get my joints moving. And I felt so much better when I started doing that, even just 250 steps in place in the office, maybe some stretching and some moving with my arms if I was feeling up to it. So that is a great option as well, and a good idea. Yes. Walk Away the Pounds DVD series. How to stay motivated with walking. We've already talked about most of these. Find a walking partner or a walking group. set one up yourself. Just invite someone to come with you. Wear comfortable walking shoes and socks to cushion your feet. Very, very important. Ladies also, very important to have a good sports bra. Try Nordic walking poles. Nordic walking poles, if you've never heard of them, are an absolutely fabulous invention. Not only do they assist with balance in uneven terrain or when it's slippery outside, but they also add an upper body component to the workout, which actually increases how many calories you burn during your walk because you're using your upper body as well as your lower body. So I've included a link there for you to explore more about walking poles if you'd like to. If you don't have a set, you can buy them from, Amazon or wherever you'd like to do that from. Make sure that you do a warm up and then you do your active walking, your intervals, or however you want to do it. And then you do a cool down at the end. So just to give your body that, especially if there are any joint issues, no matter what age you are really, or no matter what your health circumstance is, it's important with any kind of physical activity that you warm up your joints, warm up your body. And that's just gentle movement. It's just like a slow walk, maybe some stretching, little gentle dancing. If you're stretching at the beginning, make sure that you move around a little bit first because your muscles won't stretch very well till they're warm. And then at the end, just slow down, let your heart rate come down, let your breathing come down. And if you do it that way, then it's the best for your body. If you can, with walking, commit to 3 days a week for 2 weeks and stick to it. If you're just starting, again, Walk with Ease program, great way to motivate you to do that. Stay Active Challenge, great way to motivate you to do that. But if you do it 3 times a week for 2 weeks and you stick to it, then you will notice that you feel better. I can almost 100% promise you that you will notice that you feel better. There's a note that says, my poles saved me from an aggressive dog on a walk in my neighborhood where I was not expecting any wild animals. Yeah, no kidding. Built-in self-defense, stay away from me stick, right? Yes. All right, there's additional activity tips at this link that's on here if you would like. And I'll give you a few more as we go through the presentation as well. So how to increase physical activity, gardening or yard work. Riding lawnmower doesn't count, of course, I'm sorry. The walking to the riding lawnmower counts. Walk to the corner market or mailbox instead of stopping on your drive home. TV time, if you watch TV, incorporate activity, march in place during commercials, do stretching or yoga moves during commercials, ride your stationary bike or even the little foot pedal thing we talked about in the earlier presentation while watching your favorite show or movie. I know one of my health coaching folks actually has an elliptical trainer, and she says I can watch my favorite show when I'm on my elliptical trainer. So that's her way of motivating herself to be active. When cleaning, dusting, or putting groceries away, stretch tall to reach high places, squat down to reach low places rather than bending at the waist. Just, think about not being efficient, making more trips back and forth if you need to, whether it's laundry or groceries or whatever it might be. Carry things upstairs rather than leaving them at the bottom of the stairs until the next trip of the stairs. Just the extra trips up and down the stairs can make a big difference. As we go back into the office, if there's stairs in your office, then you can use those. This is the way I feel about stairs because I work at the 3rd floor in my building. And this is what I always say to myself. Am I feeling too sick or injured to use the stairs? Or am I carrying something that is too big to fit or safely use the stairs? Because if the answer to either of those questions is yes, I'm feeling too sick or injured, or yes, I am carrying something too big to safely use the stairs, then I won't use the stairs. But if the answer to those questions is no, I will use the stairs, even if I don't want to. Yeah, I know. I hate elevators too. Yeah, and especially the elevator in our building. it has a tendency to get stuck and leave people in it for an hour or two. So yeah. Stand up or walk while on the phone or video conference. We talked about that earlier at the beginning of the presentation. I said, hey, take a walk while you're listening to the webinars weekly. I certainly don't mind. At least, you know, you can stand up, you march in place while you're listening or watching. Use the stairs. We just talked about that. Talk to someone face to face. It is so easy just to text somebody or to email someone or to call them on the phone. I have ladies in my office, I kind of laugh at them because they literally are like 2 doors down the hall from me, and they will call me on the phone rather than walking down to my office and talking to me. So go get up, go talk to people in your own house, maybe your own family, maybe you gotta go walk down the hall. Travel. When you travel, pack your shoes and your swimsuit and use the hotel facilities. Ask the hotel staff if you're staying at a hotel or whoever you're staying with, if you know where can you go. Some of the best exploration that I've ever done has been when I was traveling by myself for work. I would ask the hotel staff, what's a good park to visit? What's a good trail to walk? Because then I would see parts of the city or location that I wouldn't see otherwise. And it has led to some great adventures for me. So please do that. Print out or bookmark chair exercises, desk exercises, cubicle yoga. I mean, there's so many resources out there, some of which we've already, you know, you've offered here, I've offered to you. There's a note that says one hotel had free bikes that guests could use. Yeah, I encountered that when we were recently in Spokane. There was bikes that you could use. It was in Spokane. You could take the bikes and you could ride on the Spokane River Trail with it. I mean, how cool is that? So yeah, use those. Virtual workouts, lots of options. Yoga with Adrienne, free on YouTube, because I always mention that and I wanted to make sure, so I wrote it in the presentation. Here's some more. Exercise at the same time of day so it becomes a part of your schedule. So your body is waiting for that exercise and doesn't feel right if you don't do it. Look for opportunities to be more active. Take the stairs, park further and walk for errands rather than driving to each separate place. Seeing if you can walk to that place that you might be going for lunch or for a meeting instead. Try not to get discouraged. It says don't get discouraged, but I know, I mean, we got to be real, right? We do get discouraged sometimes, and that's okay. Remember that positive self-talk when you start to feel like that. If you miss a day, then start back the next. Do it that afternoon. Things come up all the time. Maybe you're not feeling well, whatever. That kind of stuff comes up. If you start to feel discouraged or overwhelmed, just adjust how you're looking at it, adjust what you're expecting from yourself, and then try that instead. Vary the intensity of your workout. Really great way to get in better shape in an achievable way. Finding something you enjoy. And one of my favorites is listening to music or an audio book. I actually really love to listen to music, especially if I want to work hard. I'll pick up-tempo music, you know, because there's actually studies that show that up-tempo music will, like, you'll actually have a tendency to want to go with the pace of the music, right? So if you use up-tempo music while you're walking, you'll have a tendency to walk faster, or whatever it is that you're doing. Audiobooks are also a great option. I know some people don't enjoy the music so much, but they enjoy an audiobook. They said they'll just go and go and go because they want to finish the book. So those are some options for you to use as well. So we kind of did this at the beginning. So just review that in your mind. Think about your current activity and if there is a small change that you'd like to make. And a great way to target that is, what do you enjoy doing? If you wear a fitness tracker, you can maybe just try adding 2,000 steps during the day, just that incidental activity. If you attend a gym, could you change your workout somehow? Could you do a different circuit? Could you add repetitions? Could you try a different class? All kinds of different things you could do there. Think about the barriers, the challenges that prevent you from being active. I gave you some ideas to deal with a lot of the common ones like children and time. But how can you work around any barriers so that you can achieve what you want to? And are there times during the week you can more easily add activity? A lot of times when I am doing health coaching one-on-one with people, people say, gosh, I want to do a core exercise, but I'm so busy this day, I didn't get back until this time of night, all that kind of stuff. But if you just talk through that and you think through that, many times you're able to find a place where it's going to fit into your schedule. It's quite amazing when you think about it and you prioritize it. You will be able to find the time. Incidental activity. This is really important because you remember how I said that every little bit counts. This is what I mean by that. Incidental activity, which means not a focused workout, not a focused walk, not, I'm deliberately being physically active right now. This is, getting up, walking to the bathroom, going to the car, getting up and down to put away groceries, that kind of thing. It accounts for 70% of your calorie burn from physical activity every day. 70%. So think about, this could be a preparatory set, right? How do you add that extra 2,000 steps? How do you add just a little more incidental activity? Walking to the printer, using the stairs, bouncing your foot, adjusting your position, twirling your pen or clicking your pen. As long as you're not around other people, you're going to drive crazy, which I do. Singing to the music, dancing to the music while you make dinner, picking up toys, cleaning up as you cook. A pedometer or fitness tracker is an excellent way to track how much incidental activity you get in each day. You put it on in the morning and you take it off at night. So not only can you tell, I got about, 4,000 steps in that class that I went to, but you can also see, well, gosh, I've got 6,000 steps during the day today. And it's a great way to track from day to day how much incidental activity you get, because it really adds up calorie wise. It really adds up. So food and fitness log, please continue with that. I know that hasn't been the focus today so much, but you definitely have the tools you need to continue with that. So please do so. If you would like to adjust your exercise goal, then I encourage you to do that. A little funny for you with the goal setting. And the gentleman says, looks like I'm going to have to start buying larger trousers. And the boy says, maybe you could go on a diet. And the gentleman says, nope. Last time I did that, I lost 5 pounds in a week. How many of us would love that, right? And the little boy says, that's good. But he says, no, that's bad. I figured out that at that rate, I'd be gone in a year. Oh, it's silly. I know it's silly. But think about activity. Activity, sometimes more than other healthy habits, is about putting yourself first. It's about putting yourself on the list. Don't let other demands interfere with what's best for you. One of the best quotes I've ever heard is, either you're going to find time for physical activity now, or you will be forced to have time for illness later. So it really is important. It really is worth it, no matter how much you can do. So use that, let it illuminate the goals that you have set for yourself. Remember those goals, adjust them as you need to. This is what I tell myself, especially before I started teaching classes. This was super effective for me personally, so I like to share with you all. It would get me going to the gym or to my workout or whatever my thing was, because so often I would think, oh, I'm tired today, or I don't want to drive all the way in there, or whatever. And the way I would get around that is I would say, okay, I know you're tired today, just go. And if you feel too tired once you've started, then you can stop. And that would get me there. And then I have found, without fail, once I get there, I do it and I enjoy it. And I'm so glad that I came. So that is kind of like just jumping myself over the barrier of saying, oh, it's too tired, it's too late, I'm whatever, and saying, okay, let's jump over that. Once you get there, just go. And then if it's too tired, then you can stop. You can do it, shortened version, whatever. So that worked really well for me in order to get me there. And really, that's the hardest part, is getting yourself there. Once you're there, you're probably going to enjoy it and find it really worthwhile. Seize the moment. If you have just a few minutes waiting for a prescription, you can take a walk around the building. You don't have to stand there and look at your phone. So that preparatory set, see if you can focus your mind on finding times during the day where you can get incidental activity. You can move a little bit more. You might find that a walk is a better way to relax and unwind than sitting in front of the TV. A lot of people say, when I get home at night, my brain is just fried. All I want to do is plop down on TV and do nothing. You might find that a nice gentle walk instead of that actually will re-energize you, will help you to feel better, will help headaches to go away, all of that kind of stuff. And every little bit you do counts. It all counts. If you do 30 seconds, 10 seconds of relaxed breathing or stretching like we did earlier in the presentation, right? It all counts. It all counts. Don't ever think to yourself, I don't have enough time to do that, because you have enough time to think about it. So you have enough time to go take a few steps and do it. It all counts. That incidental activity accounts for a lot of calories over the course of time. It counts. So this week, set or adjust your goals as you need to. Please do what you've decided you want to do to meet your goals. Continue to record your food and fitness log. Print another week. If you're doing that, if you're doing the binder, do that again. Take your weight before our next webinar, assuming that's something you're doing. It's not a requirement. And then we're going to end with Calvin, as I usually do. So Calvin and his mom are having some fun. He's running and squealing, and his mom grabs him and says, I got you, tickle, tickle. I'm going to get you. I'm coming after you. Here I come. They're racing around. Gotcha. Tickle, tickle. And she said, finally, whoa, we better stop. Calm down, calm down. Oh, so they're calming down, and she's like, whew. And then in the last one, she's asleep on the floor. And Calvin says, her plan backfired, Dad. I'm all wound up and Mom needs to be put to bed. One thing that I haven't mentioned, but you probably already know, is that if sleep is ever an issue for you, that physical activity, maybe not right before bed, but physical activity during the day is a really great way to help you sleep better, as well as all the other benefits that we already talked about today. But yeah, it's true. Any moms out there know it's true. So any questions that you all have, I definitely will entertain them. Please put them into the chat. And remember, next week that we are having guest presenters. You definitely don't want to miss that one. And I hope you all have a great week. Enjoy us a little warmer weather as we go along. Try some activity and make note of what you do, so that when we meet together again next week, we can share with each other things that work, because we know that's part of the power of this. So thank you, everyone. Have a great week, and we will see you next week. Bye.